So, Robert, what do you think the royal family's reaction is going to be to the news that Harry is going to attend the coronation?
Well, I think as a dad, Charles will be pleased that both his sons will be there to support him at his great moment of destiny. And obviously, there's been differences of opinion that have been aired by Harry in his book Pear. But ultimately, as a dad, you want your children there, I think, at these big moments. But that said, there'll be other members of the royal family, not least probably William, to a less, maybe others as well, that will be relieved that that Meghan isn't coming, because there's been a lot of bad blood, I think, and over the last few months. But Duke and Duchess of Sussex, as they call themselves, I think have taken a pragmatic decision. I mean, there's been no apologies, I shouldn't think, between either side. So this is a way of just calming the situation, and Meghan will stay at home with the children whilst Harry goes to London to join his family.
But don't you think it's interesting that in the announcement where they've let us know that Harry is attending, they refer to themselves as the Duke and Duchess of Sussex and the children as Prince and Princess. And weren't they the ones who told Oprah that they didn't want to do anything with the titles? They weren't interested in them. It was a very title-heavy announcement, wasn't it?
Well, that's their names, I suppose. That's how they should be addressed in such an official situation. But the thing is, Nadine, I mean, I think they've been making a bit of a mockery of the royal family. I mean, look, the guys, if you're an American citizen, I mean, I'm not really sure what's the point of having these titles. I mean, isn't that what the wars of 1776 and everything was about, getting rid of the monarchy? So, you know, I can't really understand what the desire to hang on to them if you want to start a new life in America, which is the land of the free. So, like, you know, but that's what they've chosen to do. I think in a way it'll probably be a bit of a hindrance to the kids and to them, because, you know, why would you want to be a prince and princess or a duke and duchess in a republic?
So, you know, one of the bombshells in your book was that the Queen thought they were quite mad with what they were doing. That is a bit of a bombshell, because we don't really know what the Queen thinks about things. So how did you manage to get that information? And what do you think she'd make of just Harry coming to the coronation?
I mean, I never talk about sources, I'd be daft to, but the reality is it's all true. I've covered this beat for 33 years, as well as doing other things such as diplomatic editor and executive editor of the Daily Express. I broke the story that Charles was to marry Camilla before the Queen had told the Prime Minister. So, you know, journalists do their job, broadcasters do theirs, and politicians do theirs. You know, the reality is, as a journalist, your job is to get the information legally, make sure it's right, and then publish and be damned. And that's exactly what one does. I know every bit of it is true, and that's all that really matters.
So look, your book's called Charles, the Man and the Monarch Revealed. Now, I've met him a number of times, and I've honestly got to say that I don't think there are many people that I have more admiration for, or that I've liked more, and who has actually blown me away on the number of occasions that I've met. I'm not going to go in why or what we talked about, but he is a special man, a special person. What is your impression of him? What have you got to know about Charles in your time as a royal correspondent?
Yeah, I mean, I must admit, since writing books about him and covering him, I've learned a lot more about him as a person. And since I've interviewed him a couple of times as well, and I find him, as I think your assessment of him is spot on. I think we're very lucky to have such a great man as our king. You can't look into a crystal ball to see how long that reign will last. But the fact is, I do think it'll be a significant reign, even though it comes after a very long and auspicious reign by Their Majesty, the late Majesty the Queen. I think that he will make a difference. I think he's a man who really cares deeply about the people. He cares deeply about the planet. And I think he's much, much more of a person than people really give him credit for. He's a man, I think, of vision, a pioneer, and somebody that I think is a brilliant person to do this job. Now, people would just say that that's over sycophantic, but I do believe that, you know, we're having seen him at work as a diplomat, as a prince, and as Prince of Wales, and also working very closely with kids that were really not going anywhere, that he was able to inspire through his Prince's Trust. You know, people ought to take their hat off to him. Instead, they go on about his private life, his personal life. Nobody's perfect. Nobody's perfect, you know, and therefore there's been a lot of people that marriages go pear-shaped. So what? You know, at the end of the day, what does he do publicly? He does a great job.
Yeah, and can I ask you about Camilla? What kind of queen do you think she's going to make?
Somebody who supports the king, and that's what a queen consort does. And the reality is, she is, despite all the tabloids have got this a bit around their ear, actually. I mean, all the people that are married to kings are called queen consort. They take the title queen consort, and that is their title. Although they are called queen, the previous queen, the queen mother was a queen consort. She was Queen Elizabeth. Queen Mary before that, Queen Alexandra. A Queen Regent is different. She's the same as a king, and that's the way it works. People like Victoria and Elizabeth II. So what sort of queen will she make? She'll be a very supportive person to the king. She's clearly the love of his life. They get on so well together. They really complement each other. And I think if you're in a job like the king has, you do need somebody at your side who gets you, supports you, and really does give him the strength to carry on.
Well, I love the way he always refers to her as, always, when I've heard him talk about her or in her company, he always refers to her as my darling wife. I just thought, that's so sweet. And I look forward to reading the book, and the best of luck with it, Robert.
We've got, I hope you got one, but
I have one right here. We can hold them together.
Well, I'll make sure that when I see you, I sign it for you.
It's been
but
fabulous.
just remember that someone used to joke that the signed ones are the less valuable.
That's true. I know that as an author. Right.